Stop worrying and start living. Stop worrying and start living is a series we started about 13 weeks ago. Today is the 13th episode. We've had a lot of discussion on this issue. And like I said when we started, was as a result of discussion with people and realizing that even though people call themselves Christian, born again Christian, but living in depression, full of worry and anxiety, such that the issues of life create fear, the fear creates worry, worry creates anxiety, anxiety leads to depression, depression leads to hopelessness, and hopelessness consequently actually is creating suicide. So sometimes when you hear that a pastor committed suicide, that's exactly what has happened. What makes such an individual to commit suicide is because he has not been able to master some principles of how to overcome some of these challenges of life that confront us. We all face these challenges. We all face these challenges. And because we all face these challenges, but we handle it differently. Even though we all face these challenges, we handle the challenges differently. We handle the issues differently. Because we handle the challenges and the issues differently, it produces different results in our lives. Our focus today is mastering happiness. Mastering happiness. You know, each of the sessions for the stop worrying and start living, I've had different subtopics under it. So today we are looking at mastering happiness. By September, we'll start a new series on prayers, and it's called A Fresh Look at Prayer. A Fresh Look at Prayer. People are now living in a continuous mode of unanswered prayer, keep praying about the same thing, rather than looking at it from another perspective and knowing what we're not doing right, because it's making God to look wicked, as if God does not answer prayer. But that will be in September, because for the next 3 weeks, we still have, or late August actually, we still have to deal with this issue of stop worrying and start living. And the focus is on mastering happiness. Let me start by reading our anchor scriptures. And the reason why I read this scripture all the time, is because truth is absolute. Truth is absolute. And Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And truth is absolute. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And truth is absolute. So it's very important we anchor our thought on truth. If we anchor our thought on truth, then it can hold water. So it doesn't become a personal opinion or what someone view or think, but rather what is truth, which does not change. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. The weapon of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God to the pulling down of stronghold. And I've said that the stronghold here is not the stronghold that people think is one power or someone in the village that is doing one thing or the other against them, but rather is the stronghold of your mind. The stronghold in your mind. Such a powerful belief system, thought process, that is so limiting and hindering you from making the necessary advancement. Hindering you from making the necessary advancement. This is so important. Very, very important. Stronghold right in the mind. If we realize the fact that the real issue is in the mind, it becomes a lot easier to fix the issue, rather than thinking the issue is from outside or from someone else. In the next verse, it says, casting down imagination and every act that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Now, I've read this particular truth every session of this program just to draw the attention of the worrying, the fact that the worry is actually as a result of inability to manage our mind. Just proving and showing that the worry is mainly because of inability to manage our mind. Our mind is so powerful. Our mind is so powerful. Because our mind is very powerful, if we are not conscious of what we think, you'll be shocked that your mind will begin to control you. Your mind will begin to control you, such that when you're worried, that's your mind controlling you. And when you worry, you're worried about anticipated future challenge. You are using your power of imagination to create problem for yourself. Someone said that the biggest challenge of mankind is that we have two major faculties: fantastic memory, vivid imagination, and that those are the two major problems of mankind: thinking about the past or worrying about the future. And all of them creating fear in our mind. So Paul said, casting down imagination. Those imagination must be cast down. Imagination that exalts itself against the knowledge of Christ. Last week, I read through a number of scriptures about the promise for you, if you have known God, the promise for you, as in who you have become by knowing Christ. And that those things must be supreme in your mind, casting down imagination and every item that exalts itself against those things that God has said about you, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So I shouldn't be thinking a thought that is against the knowledge of God. All my thoughts should be subject to what Christ or God have said about me. And I said, if therefore we are going to be able to control our mind, then we must be mindful of what we think about. But we have an idea of what we should think about. Whatsoever things are true should preoccupy our mind. Whatsoever things are honest should preoccupy our mind. Whatsoever things are just should preoccupy our mind. Whatsoever things are pure should preoccupy our mind. Whatsoever things are lovely should preoccupy our mind. Whatsoever things are of good report should preoccupy our mind. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. Think on the things that are virtuous. Think on the things that are praiseworthy. Think on the things that are lovely. Think on the things that are of good report. Think on the things that are just. Think on the things that are honest. Think on the things that are true. Think on the things that are pure. Think on these things. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issue of life. In the world, things will happen. Things will happen. We don't have control about things happening in the world. But the way we respond will show whether we are wise or wounded. The way we respond. We show our wisdom, or if we are wounded, the way we respond. The way we respond determines our history and stored in our memory. Whenever you respond in a particular way, always remember, there is a memory stored in you. It's stored in your DNA, transferred from your parent. It's stored in your brain based on the environment you grew up, the education you have, and the experience. Those three things influence. We are a bunch of memory as human beings. We are full of memory. Our cell has memory stored in the DNA. Our brain has memory stored in the neuron. These memories stored in the neuron were based on the experiences that we have had in life, the education we have had, and the environment we grew up from in our mind. But the one transferred to us from our parents also is part of it. And they all influence the way we respond. They all influence the way we respond. You know, whenever anything happens to you in life, you are either responding or reacting. Reacting is negative, responding is positive. Reacting is negative, responding is positive. And the way you respond or react is dependent on stored info in your mind. Stored info in your mind. Your intellect function based on the amount of data that you have stored through learning. Your intellect function based on the amount of data you have stored through learning. So our intellect is whatever it is we think about is based on what we have stored through learning. Through learning. Someone say your intellect is like a knife. It is good for dissecting, but it's not good for sewing. That means we can't rely on our intellect for everything. Imagine someone thinking that he wants to succeed and not care if others fail. Let me give you a good example. You know, if someone wants to be the best, the first all the time, if you always want to be the first, what happens to others? Others should be second, third, and last. If others now become first and you are unhappy about it, something is wrong. In fact, the person needs help. The person is sick. When your joy is in other people failing, something is wrong with that individual. Because it's abnormal to be happy at the downfall of others. It's abnormal. But you know, sometimes religion have made people to even pray for the enemy to die. Which is why our next series is on a fresh look at prayers. A fresh look at prayers. Because people pray for the enemy to die. And that's appalling, really. It's bad. So the person does not want other people to succeed. He only must succeed. Other people must fail. So when others, even though the Bible says rejoice with them that do rejoice, he's a Christian, he believes in God, he believes in the Bible, but he's not happy when others succeed. Why? Because it's not me, it's them. How much crime you can commit in life depends on how empowered you are. But listen to this. There's only one crime leading to many evil in our world. And that crime is limited identity. That crime is limited identity. My family, my friend, my tribe, my race, my community, my country is a limited identity. It's a limited identity. Look, the reason why someone will kill another man is because of limited identity. He's not identifying with that other person. He's not identified with that other person. Limited identity. Limited identity is one of the biggest challenges in our world. When I begin to see others, because they are not my tribe, they are not my religion, so they are fit to die. They are not in my tribe, they are not in my religion, so they are fit to die. But as human beings, we are not supposed to have a limited identity. He said, ye are the light of the world. He said, ye are the salt of the earth. So my identity is the world, not just the people, the world. That's why I must be conscious of the environment. You know, one of the reasons why people are not happy It's because of limited identity, not being identified with other people. That's why they will be unhappy when they succeed, because they are not identifying with others. They only me, myself, and I. But he said, ye are the light of the world, ye are the salt of the earth. Ye are the light of the world, ye are the salt of the earth. If someone with limited identity is empowered in life, he will be a terrible leader. You know why Adolf Hitler was able to do what he did? Adolf Hitler has a limited identity. If you are not a Nazi, German, if you are not part of their tribe and clan, you are fit to die because they must dominate. When a person with limited identity is empowered, it's a disaster waiting to happen. You know, we are worried about the way Nigeria is right now, complaining about the president. Those character of the president was not obvious until he gained power. You know, the danger of limited identity of a human being does not become obvious until power gets into his hand. Limited identity is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. Limited identity is very dangerous, very dangerous. It's a crime to be identified only with your family, your tribe, your religious affiliation or religious persuasion, your religious belief, your nation, your race, your continent, your community, your clan. It's a limited identity to identify with them. Your identity should transcend beyond your family, beyond your community, beyond your country, beyond your continent, beyond your race, even to the animals and plants in the ecosystem. You know, today there is a talk, so much talk about sustainability, sustainability, sustainability. In fact, UN came up with the 17 sustainable development goals for different countries in the world. 17 sustainable development goals. Do you know why that was necessary? It was necessary because of limited identity. We are not identifying with the environment. We are not identifying with the environment. We are not identifying with the poor, with the needy in the society. People just live and don't even care about others. You know, when you are driving in Lagos and you see people begging in traffic, or, you know, some of these children that come to wash the windscreen, I just tell them, don't bother washing. I know you want money, you're hungry, and it's better you beg than come and rob in the night and destroy people's cars. But many people don't give them money. Of course, they will come and rob in the night. They rob car in the night because they want to eat. They're just looking for what to eat. Those people, they don't have more problem. The only thing they think about every day is what to eat, how to survive. So every day, the only thing driving them is what to eat and how to survive. Those children. But because many people on the road, on the street, have limited identity, they don't even identify with those people that are in need. And it's not, how much will you give them? 15 naira, 100 naira? Some people don't even see them exist. Some people even see them as nuisance on the road. Nuisance. Because of limited identity. Now, if you don't begin to identify with others, it's a recipe for unhappiness. You won't be, because as human beings, our joy and gladness and fulfillment is in service to others. In fact, I'm of the opinion that worry, anxiety will be over if we can remain human. What does it mean to be human? To be human is to give. To be human is to love. To be human is to serve. To be human is to give. To be human is to love. To be human is to serve. If you remain human, happiness will not elude you. If you remain human, happiness will not elude you as human being. If you remain human, happiness will not elude you. If you discover you are depressed, you are unhappy, you are sad, you are worried, check it very well. Your life is always about you, me, myself, and I. Your life is always about you, me, myself, and I. Remember, we are discussing subtopic today, mastering happiness. Mastering happiness. Mastering happiness. If we are going to be happy all the day long, irrespective of the issues that happen. If you're going to be happy all the day long, irrespective of the issue that happen, I tell you, you must stop having limited identity. What is a limited identity? A limited identity, a person that has limited identity is a person that is only identified with himself, with his family, with his community, with his clan, with his tribe, with his country, with his continent, but does not identify with the world and with the earth, even though you are the light of the world, the scripture says. You are the salt of the earth. So you are not the light of your street, of your family, of your tribe, of your clan, but the light of the world. So you cannot identify only with your people. Remember, an empowered person with a limited identity is going to be a terrible leader. You're going to experience exactly what we're experiencing in Nigeria right now, when the president is only defending and supporting his own people. You realize this character of the president was not very obvious until he has power. When you empower a man with limited identity, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And Nigeria is experiencing that firsthand, a disaster waiting to happen. You should not empower someone that have a limited identity because it will cause havoc, great havoc. A good example is that of Hitler. This character called Adolf Hitler, this characteristic of Adolf Hitler is in many human beings. Many human beings are as worse as Adolf Hitler. The reason why we can't see it is because they don't have power. Many human beings are as worse as Adolf Hitler. The reason why we can't see it is because they don't have power. The day they have power, you will know they are worse than Adolf Hitler. The day they have power, you will know they are worse than Adolf Hitler. A man with limited identity who sees himself based on his race, who sees himself based on his tribe, who sees himself based on people that speak his language, who sees himself based on his religion, who sees himself based on his country, who sees himself based on his family, who sees himself based on his nationality, is a disaster waiting to happen. If you have a limitless identity, that's what we should have. Not limited, limitless. A man with a limitless identity will see people, places, and the entire creation as part of him. Remember, you are the light of the world, not the light of your family. You are the salt of the earth, not the salt of your tribe. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. When you have a limitless identity, it makes you to love everyone, irrespective of their creed, irrespective of their color, irrespective of their culture, irrespective of their characteristics and traits. You love everyone because you are the light of the world. You love everyone because you are the light of the world. To have a limitless identity is to be human. Remember, to have a limitless identity is to be human. And when you love everyone and do good, you know, when you love everyone, you will be doing good to everyone. When you do good to everyone, you know what happens? You will always be happy. You will always be happy. When you serve people, you will be happy. Service to humanity creates that boost, surge of happiness. If you love humanity, you will be happy. If you love humanity, if you love the environment, you will be happy. You know why? When you give love, you know, I talked about this, I think it was the last 2 sessions ago, about the hormones released into your body, about the hormones released into your body when you help others. There are hormones released into your body when you help others. You know, Limited identity make you to actually lose a lot of opportunity to enjoy, to be happy. And I'll prove it to you scientifically. Research has shown it. Research has shown it. Research has shown it. That when you have a limitless identity with love for everyone, because when you have a limitless identity, you will be human. To be human is to give. To be human is to love. To be human is to serve. Now, when you are human, by helping others, it triggers an impact in your brain in many ways. When you help others, your brain releases some hormone. One of them is oxytocin. It also releases serotonin. It also releases dopamine. Now, these are called happiness hormone. Happiness hormone are oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. They are called happiness hormone. These happiness hormones are released in the brain when you are human. When you are human. When you are human. By giving and serving and loving. Man, look at this. These are called happiness hormone. This happiness hormone help to increase immune system. It's strengthening your immune system, particularly dopamine. Particularly dopamine. Particularly dopamine. Improve the immune system. How does it do that? Dopamine has been seen to increase the rate of production of white blood cells. If you remember your biology, those are the soldiers that fight germs in the body. Dopamine increases the production of white blood cells. White blood cells that boost your immune system. You know, I have accepted that there is a big issue with the way we read our Bible. I've accepted that if we don't change the way we read our Bible and be able to understand that the Bible is not a religious book, when it says you are the light of the world, that's the only way to be happy. When you say you are the salt of the earth, that's the only way to be happy, to avoid worry and anxiety. To avoid worry and anxiety. To avoid depression. To avoid depression. This hormone boosts immune system. So what that means is that, and this research paper was saying that means it is not blessed to give than to receive. And I said, so say the scriptures. It is more blessed to give than to receive. In fact, this hormone boosts your immune system. But look at this. This hormone counters the effect of stress. There is a stress hormone in our body. It's called cortisol. Cortisol is an hormone. That hormone is a stress hormone. When you are stressed, the hormone in your body that makes you look stressed, down, unhappy, sad. Cortisol is a major contributor. Look, as human beings, we are chemical factory. We produce a lot of chemicals. As human beings, we are chemical factory. So it's like you are the CEO of that chemical factory. Your mood determines whether you are a lousy CEO or you're an effective and efficient CEO. Your mood determines whether you're a lousy CEO or whether you are an efficient CEO. Your mood determines that. If you are always down, that means you're a lousy CEO. You are allowing your body to produce cortisol, a stress hormone that makes you feel sad, down, moody all the time. Whereas, you can also cause your body to produce another hormone. In fact, do you know that the happiness hormone counteracts the effect of cortisol? The happiness hormone counteracts the effect of cortisol. Remember happiness hormone? The serotonin, the oxytocin, the dopamine. It counters the effect of cortisol. Now, this might urge some people to ask, is giving your time, your talent, and treasure inherently selfish then? Perhaps Giving is selfish. Be very selfish enough to give your time and talent and treasures to be a blessing to someone. That's one of the secrets to happiness, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the secrets to happiness. That's one of the secrets to happiness. If you discover you are not happy, just be human. What does it mean to be human? To be human is to love. To be human is to give. To be human is to serve. To be human is to love. To be human is to give. To be human is to serve. To be human is to love. To be human is to give. To be human is to serve. Just be human. If you just become human, I tell you, you just will be bursting with doses of serotonin, with doses of dopamine, and with dosing of oxytocin. Now, there was a neurological study that suggests that giving social support to others may benefit the giver more than the receiver. In one study, the study compared giving versus receiving. Participants were asked various scenarios in which they either gave or received support. In a series of functional magnetic resonance images tests of the brain, they attach gadgets to their brain, checking on the screen the wave movement of the brain, and they were asking questions, making them to think about how they feel when they receive and how they feel when they give. The study found out that giving ultimately had a greater benefit than receiving. In other words, from an evolutionary perspective, our brain are hardwired to feel rewarded more from being magnanimous, from magnanimity, than from selfishness, meanness, and we feel rewarded more when we are selfless and magnanimous than when we are mean and selfish. In other words, science is proving that you are better off when you remain human. You are better off when you remain human because it is better to give than to receive. The reason why someone will kill another person and feel good about it is because he has a limited identity. Imagine people who die for religion and believe because they believe their religion is the best. And some Christians are making that mistake also. Believe their religion is the best, so they don't love others because they are not in their religion, so they will kill for that. Commit suicide and kill many people. Genocide has been committed. Nation has been raised down because of limited identity. Good health, competence, intelligence become a curse when you have limited identity. Good health, competence, intelligence, position, power can become a curse when someone has a limited identity. The moment I have a limited identity, then I'm a crime because it makes me to care less about what happened to others. Even though this crime has not been recognized in our laws, but it's a crime to have a limited identity. Just think of any evil in our world today. Stealing from others, defrauding people, killing, maiming, is because of limited identity. Limited identity means I have forsaken my humanity, and this is a crime and should be criminalized because this is part of the root of all evil. This is part of the root of all evil. This is part of the root of all evil. When you have a limited identity, how much crime you are capable of committing now depends on the competence you have, the power you have, and the position that you occupy. Limited identity in life make competence in life of such an individual to become a curse. Make power in such a life to become a curse. make position in that life to become a cause. All your identity in life is all from your memory. And it is the accumulation of your memory that gave you that identity. So we must come to a point in our life to understand that. That's why I said, that's why one of the things that will change our world is a good practice of the Christian faith. If we see ourselves as the light of the world, oh my God, it will be a different world we live in, the way we treat others. Do you know why some people are racist? Why people are religious fanatics? Do you know what is causing white supremacy? Do you know what is causing suicide bombing? These people are victims of their memory. Their memory tells them, you are a Jew, you are an Arab, you are a Yoruba man, you are an Hausa man, you are an Igbo man, you are an Ibibio man. You are different from the others. You are superior to them. The memory tells them. The memory, remember, were installed, apart from the memory residing in our DNA. You know, the reason why your face looks at that of your parent or grandparent is because of the memory already stored in your DNA. The memory stored in their DNA transferred to you through the zygote that was formed from your mom and your dad, from fertilization of the sperm and the egg. But there are other memories we accumulated after we are born. There is a memory that determines, that make us to have the shape, the kind of face, the way we speak, the gesticulation. There's a memory in the DNA. But there's another memory we accumulated through our education, through our experience, and through our environment. This memory is like software running inside you, influencing your action every day. Your environment influence your experience in life. Your experience affects your knowledge of how life works. Your knowledge of how life works affects your belief system. Your belief system affects the things you value. The things you value affect the choices you make. And the choices you make affect the action you take. So that memory is like a software and it affects your actions. Remember when I started, I was talking about the fact that if you respond and react to situation in a particular way, it's because of that accumulated memory. Your memory of the past is haunting you. There are some things today you will not do because of what has happened to you in the past. Some have been able to break free from that, but some are still living in the past. What has happened in the past, you can't change. Today is what you have to create a better tomorrow. You can't control the past, you can't control the future, but you can influence the future by what you do today. The essence of this session is to recognize the influence of the environment on you and make up your mind that, look, going forward, I will not have a limited identity. In life, you have a choice to either be a victim of your memory or leverage your need to advance mankind. You can be a victim. Many people are victims of their memory. Your identity is like your clothes. It's tightly knit to you. You need to create a space between you and your identity. It's very important that you separate yourself from that memory of who you think you are and embrace the higher ideals of our society. Be human. You know, we human beings are just a pop-up in time. We think so much of ourselves. This is a very big cosmos. We are just a pop-up. You know the way pop-up is on the laptop? Pop-up, up, and then eventually go out. If you have created for yourself a limited and hence false identity, you will be prejudiced against those that are not part of your identity. That is why you need to recreate yourself and change your identity. Remember, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. When we suffer in two ways as humans, either physical suffering or mental suffering. Physical suffering or mental suffering. But what we have been focusing on in these 13 weeks is mental suffering. Mental suffering. Mental suffering. But when you realize that your body and your mind are not you, the spirit man between, you create a space between you and them. You will consequently eliminate that suffering. Because when you begin to think, the mental suffering comes from your memory of the past or imagination of the future. This has happened. This is the implication in future. Memory of the past, imagination of the future. You know, when we are in fear, it's a bad way to live. You know why? It's like I'm suffering from what might never even happen. What has not happened and might never happen. And most of the time, it never really happened. You know, when we're young, like 5-year-old, you are not conscious of your body. You're not conscious of your mind. You jump up and down. You are free to just play and just free. Because you're not conscious of it. But that's why sometimes children will want to jump from a plane. We say, stop, stop, stop. In fact, we infuse fear in them because they don't even know that they will wound themselves because they're not conscious of it. But as you grow into adolescence, teenager, you become conscious of them. This is the reason why a child can jump up and down without minding the fact that he will injure himself. Your body and mind are just a tool. You have to be using them on the earth to advance your cause and the cause of others. They are not meant to control you, but you know what has happened? It now controls us. It now controls us. Remember, the memory we gather is not who we are. We are human. To be human is to give. To be human is to love. To be human is to serve. But the memory we have acquired have created for us a different identity. You are a woman. You are a lady. You are a Yoruba girl. You are an Igbo girl. You are an Hausa girl. You are black. You are from Benue. You are from Calabar. You are from Kano. We create for ourselves identity. This is what we have gathered. Now, what you gather is yours, but it's not you. What you gather, if I hold a cup in my hand, that cup is mine, but it's not me. I'm not the cup. But we behave as if we are the cup, thinking this is who we are. In the real sense of the word, that is not who you are. You are light of the world. To be separate from the body and the mind is what it means to be dead, to be flesh, to be dead to self. Love is the sweetness of your emotion, and hate is the bitterness of your emotion. The sweetness of your emotion should not be tied to a person, a place. The sweetness of your emotion should not be tied to a person, a place, or piece of item. When you allow this to happen, it is the worst slavery. You know, we have put ourselves in a slavery mode. Slavery, you know, when someone makes you happy, something makes you happy, you are not happy by yourself. You are not happy by being human. Someone make you happy, or a piece of material you have acquired make you happy. If that's what makes you happy, that's worse form of slavery. So, for example, to be married, first of all, you must be happy yourself You must be loving. You must love yourself. You must have enough love to give. You shouldn't marry because you are devoid of love. You want someone to love you. It's a very dangerous trend. Because that means you don't have love. But you're supposed to give in that relationship. So you don't have anything to give. If the other party does not give, you'll be in trouble. You'll be in big trouble. You'll be in big trouble if the other person does not give. So don't go in because you want someone to give you. You should have more than enough to give. Your happiness should not be tied to someone's behavior. Someone behave well, it doesn't behave well, your husband, your wife, your children, your boss, your office. If your happiness is tied to anything in this life, it's the worst form of slavery. That means someone else determines your happiness. A place, a thing determines your happiness. See someone come out of the car to box and fight down for driver when they hit his car on the road because his happiness is tied to that car. You can't imagine it being bashed. So you want to seek a revenge and fight. And at the end of the day, with all the cry and fight and shout, the guy will just lie down on the road and be begging. You have to leave him eventually and go. The worst form of slavery that we have engaged in as humans today is the fact that we allow our happiness to be determined by promotion, job, success in school or in ministry or in life or on the job, what we have acquired, maybe property or car or house or children or people. I think we just are, it's sad. It's so sad. Whatever the good thing that can happen to you, like joy, peace, love, if it's determined by someone, that's slavery. If for you to be happy, it's because of action or inaction of someone. For you to be joyful, it's because of action or inaction of someone. That's the highest form of slavery. That means you're being controlled by things or person or people. You must make up your mind. In fact, remember we are discussing mastering happiness. Stop worrying and start living perfecting. If you are going to be happy, it's a decision we have to make. I realize that you have to make up your mind that you will be happy, irrespective of the issues in your life. You have to make up your mind. If you don't make up your mind to be happy, irrespective of the challenge of life, I tell you, if you don't make up your mind to be happy, irrespective of the challenge of life, you will always be swinging between up and down. Someone misbehave, you are unhappy. Someone behave, you are happy. If you don't make up your mind. So there are people that talk about the pursuit of happiness. Why should you pursue what should be happening inside you? You know what's interesting about happiness is that it happened inside you. So why is it that what happened inside you, someone decided? Things that happen outside you don't have control over that one. But what happened inside you? Why should it be based on someone's behavior? You should have control over that. If you don't have control over what happened inside you, that is slavery. That is slavery. If you don't have control over what happened inside you, you should have control over what happened inside you. You should have control. What happened outside, you don't have control over that. So you're not supposed to be pursuing happiness up and down. Someone said, if your body becomes sweet and pleasant, it is called health and pleasure. If your mind becomes sweet and pleasant, it is called peacefulness and joyfulness. If your emotion becomes sweet and pleasant, it is called love and compassion. If your spirit or life source becomes sweet and pleasant, it is called blissfulness and ecstasy. If your surrounding becomes sweet and pleasant, it is called success. So to experience love within you, that should not depend on someone else. That should not depend on someone else. Because the emotion is within you. It should depend on you. When you need a support for what you ordinarily should be able to do for yourself, that means you are crippled. What you should be able to do for yourself, you need someone to support you, you are crippled. You should be able to ensure you maintain that state of happiness. That is exactly what you do to yourself when you think you need someone else to support you to be happy in life. So when you already have this, when you already have the sweetness in your emotion, that is what you share in marriage. If you don't have that sweetness in your emotion, there's nothing to share in marriage. You must have enough to share. If you don't have enough, the marriage will be a catastrophe. You are not supposed to be squeezing love out of your partner in marriage. You're supposed to share the one you have. You're supposed to share what you have. You're supposed to share what you have. You're supposed to share what you have. When you need a support of someone for what you ordinarily should be able to do yourself, that's being crippled. What you should be able to do for yourself, you need someone to make you happy. That's exactly what you do to yourself when you think you need someone else to support you to be happy. You know, when you're down, you need to begin to lose consciously. When something happened that makes you feel sad, you need to know what to do to bring yourself back. You must be in control of it. There are music you can listen to that will lift up your spirit, or verses of scripture you recording and listening to. If you listen to the session I did last week, I read out several scriptures, personalizing it, that you can personalize for yourself. Personalize for yourself so that you remind yourself of who you are. I am alive in Christ. I am free from the power of sin and death. No evil shall befall me. No weapon fashioned against me shall prosper. My life is hid with Christ in God. I have power over all the power of the enemy. Nothing shall my enemies touch me. Personalize those scriptures and remind yourself of it. So if you are not conscious, you would have gone so worried, depressed for days before you realize, why am I thinking like this? But when you are consciously living, immediately something happened that wants to make you feel sad, down, you just look for, I have to ensure I have such on my phone to listen to. Why? Because there are so many things around I want to, but I must be in charge of the way I feel. So I must control it. So I listen to what will make me to feel the way I want to feel, rather than to be feeling bad because something happened or something does not happen. It's a challenge we have to, it's a task we must do for ourselves. Because we are in the world and we'll face challenges. There will be issues that will happen we are not happy about, that want to make us feel sad. So, but if you are conscious of the fact that you cannot afford to continue living in that state, you must master happiness. Then you want to come back. Remember, for those who walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. The weapon of our warfare are not carnal, they are mighty God to plead our good. Casting down imagination. It is that imagination that makes you feel bad, feel unhappy, and feel sad. Casting down imagination and everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. When you imagine and think, it's because you are thinking on something that is against what the scripture has said concerning you. He said you must bring those things into captivity to the obedience of Christ. So what should you think about? Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. And before I close today, remember, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. I would like to hear from you. What have you learned tonight? Yes, Faith, you are number one on my list. Hello, Faith. How are you tonight? Good evening. How are you? Yes. What have you learned tonight? Your voice is low. Can you increase it a little?
Okay, can you hear me now?
A lot better.
Okay. I'm still trying to grasp.
You see what?
a lot from what you said. Is I should be in control of how I feel,
Yes.
despite the circumstances around me.
Yes.
And so I have power to decide how I feel concerning anything that happens. And anytime that I feel down, I should remind myself of scriptures. I think that what I would do is I would try to surround myself with more scriptures that are personalized, like you said. So that way I'm able
the
to
series
see.
I did last week's session, I will drop the link again on the group. If you can pick it up,
Okay.
I mentioned several scriptures you can personalize. I read them out. Maybe that will help.
Okay, sir. Okay, I will do that. Okay, so also I learned that nobody in charge of me being happy but me. And so I should not put the responsibility of somebody else to make me happy because it is actually my own responsibility.
Yes.
That's what I learned. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Kike. Good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, it was a wonderful session again tonight. And basically, I learned that if I need someone to do what I can do for myself, then I'm handicapped.
Yes.
My joy is dependent, my happiness is dependent on me.
Yeah.
And the summary of the whole thing is you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
So if you don't have happiness, there's no way you can give it. And definitely, I think that's the basic problem in the world today. People are actually not happy. So I shouldn't be expecting someone that is not happy to give me happiness.
Exactly.
Happiness is dependent on me. That's a big one. Thank you. For me, that's just the summary of the whole thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yemi, good evening. How are you tonight? Hello, Yemi, are you there tonight? Okay, Yemi is not. Oyeti. Oyeti. Oyeti, can you hear me? Hello, Oyeti. Okay, Yemi and Oyeti are unable to speak. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for being able to make it tonight. It's been an interesting session. I would go to the one of last week and drop it again so that we can easily go back there to use. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.